What's up everybody, Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Overwatch 2 video, and in this video we're going to be breaking down 5 tips to dominate with DPS in Overwatch 2. But wait, according to this graphic, 99% of you are not subscribed. I'm going to be pumping out tons of Overwatch content, so what are you waiting for? Click it right now down below. Maybe you've been trying to frag out, but it's not quite working. Well, we're going to catch you up to speed and teach you how to dominate, so let's jump right in. Now, the first thing that we always got to talk about when we talk about DPS, it's your mechanical skill. First off, we got to talk about aim. Now, your sensitivity for controllers and your sense and DPI for mouse and keyboard users is going to directly depend on the types of DPS that you are predominantly playing. Not every sensitivity is going to work the most optimally with every single DPS. Let's take Genji for instance, a character that you have to be able to do consistent 180s on a fly, and you're going to be doing them an absolute ridiculous amount. The sensitivity that you would have on a Genji main would be on average far higher than the sensitivity that you would have on a Widowmaker main, who doesn't need to 180 anywhere near as much as a Genji, and greatly benefits from more stabilization in their aim by having a much lower sensitivity. Now, of course, practice makes perfect, and you're going to want to practice a lot on your mechanical skill with the character of your choice. Now, unless you're very, very new at shooters, period, I would definitely discourage you from using aim trainers, because those are going to sure teach you some raw mechanical function. It doesn't teach you what truly matters, which is how to aim under pressure, how to aim with the movement in the game, and how to aim with the characters that you're going to be using. So you should definitely be practicing inside the game and not against bots, but actual characters, whether that's in a workshop mode, in triad free-for-all, or just by playing the game. That is the best way to improve your mechanical aim. On top of that, don't forget that a lot of ability mechanics require specific practice as well. Don't just practice the primary aim of your character. For instance, Sojourn's alternate fire is something that you're going to have to practice separately from her primary fire if you want to eventually reach a high level of skill and comfortability with that character. Next up, we got to talk about matchups, and every single character has positive and negative matchups under certain situations, and it's your job to figure out what the matchups are of your main. Let's say hypothetically you're Cassidy and you want to think about the Genji matchup. Let's write down some of the ways that you could lose this fight. For one, you could get your primary fire or your abilities reflected. So it's important for you to either shoot the enemy Genji while he's not looking at you, or properly bait out these type of abilities. The next thing that you could do is properly distance himself away from his dash. Learning the Genji dash distance is going to better help you prepare, and going up against a lot of Genjis will help you feel more comfortable. I always suggest tryhard free-for-all, which is a mode that removes a lot of the characters that are quote-unquote not skill and puts you in a battle royale deathmatch with all the other DPS and a couple of supports, and it's a way to purely focus on matchups over and over again, get used to the pressure that you're going to experience when under threat constantly, and improve your mechanical skill as well. There's actually completely different types of movement both DPS and support should utilize against certain DPS, but I'm going to break that down in a future movement guide, so if you want to see that, let me know down below and smash that like and subscribe. Next up, we got to move on to tip number 3, and that's utilize your team. This is not a 1v1, it's not a 1v5. In the game of Overwatch, you have 4 other teammates that may or may not be helping you achieve your goals. Now, regardless, you should be utilizing the presence that your team creates. If one of your teammates is in a 1v1, add to it and make it a 2v1, and that will make the matchup so much smoother, and you can get a quick numbers advantage. If you are a diver or someone that wants to engage on the flank, let your teammate engage and pressure first and engage at the same time as them. You have to be analyzing and watching what your team is doing, being aware of when they're in and out of combat, because a lot of DPS players will try to engage far after their team is either dead or before their team has actually engaged, and then the DPS will die, and then your team will lose because you, their hard carry, is no longer alive. So it's very important that you time these engagements properly with your team, and while you definitely should set that up in comms if you can, if not, just watch what your teammates are doing, specifically your tank, and take note when that player is engaging or retreating. The next thing that we need to talk about is getting value out of every single life. Now, there's many things that you need to accomplish with your life as a DPS, and one of the most important ones is providing sustainable pressure to the enemy. This means punishing the enemy for poor positioning mistakes. If the enemy support is isolated and trying to get incredibly greedy with their positioning, being a dive DPS, it's your job to pressure them and prevent them from being able to take such an obscure off angle. If the enemy DPS is holding the high ground, able to easily fire among your team, and you're a hit scan player, it's your job to put damage into them, pressuring them to play behind cover or backing up altogether so they can't output nearly as much pressure. In addition to that, in your lives, you should be looking for pickoffs and opportunity to make plays that will carry team fights. If you're doing that first job correctly, there will eventually be an opportunity for you to make a play, get a numbers advantage, because a mistake an enemy will make will happen, and as long as you're not making mistakes and accomplishing that first job, you will find those pickoffs. The last thing that we need to talk about is ultimates. One of the best ways to have consistent value over the course of a game is with your ultimate use. Now, the easiest way as a DPS player to get guaranteed value with your ultimate is by comboing it with another person's ultimate. This could be a support main trying to amplify your blade, for instance, or your tactical visor. This could be a Zarya grabbing and you Hanzo dragon striking right into it to get guaranteed kills. While solo ults are definitely impactful if used correctly, ultimate combos are much more guaranteed value, and you should be trying to do them a lot and consistently because you're going to get a ton of value and win a ton of team fights. Plus, consistently comboing ultimates brings a high level of automatic value to every single game you play. That's why I always suggest duo queuing with someone who has an ultimate that combos well with you. Don't combo once, don't combo twice, combo each and every time you can. Next up, you also got to play towards that win condition. It is incredibly important for you to be both aware of the time and also think about whether or not you should invest that ultimate into the fight in the first place. Sometimes if you have a pickoff on your team and you only have time for one more fight, it's better for you to back off or die, save that ultimate, and invest it in a fight that has much more premium conditions. It is important for you to evaluate this on the fly, and you're not going to get this right every time, but over time you'll get better and better. And sometimes you'll have those disadvantaged positions, but because you set up the proper combo or you see the proper scenario in which you can pull off an ultimate play, it'll be worthwhile to invest it and you'll see those opportunities. Now, this is a really big one and it's something that a lot of people don't do, but I suggest you do it because it will give you a huge advantage, and that's practice your ultimate. Whether it's a Dragon Blade, where there's tons of workshop modes where you can practice it really easily. I had to learn Dragon Blade the good old-fashioned way by dying a lot, but you get to practice it very, very easily in a workshop mode. You can also practice with Tracer and just have unlimited pulse bombs. You could practice sticking them. You could practice Blink 180 sticking. You can just practice any ultimate that requires a substantial amount of skill to pull off. It's good for you to get very comfortable with it in an isolated setting and then get comfortable with it in a pressure setting, and then when you're in game, you're not going to be fazed by the pressure, and mechanically you know you can execute, and you're going to see it all come together with application and time. Now, I hope you enjoyed 5 quick tips to dominate on DPS, but if you have any questions or if you want a follow-up video about a specific DPS, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Please smash that like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, and thank you for coming by. I'll see you next time.